What's going on, everyone? Homework assignment 15. Today's objective: I can solve absolute value equations. All right, so real quick, before we do that, we'll talk real quick about what the absolute value is. So remember, if I take the absolute value of some number, so let's say the absolute value of 5, it's 5. Absolute value of -5 is still 5. Okay? Absolute value simply just represents the distance a number is away from 0. So here's what we'll use to solve these absolute value equations. So step one, we're going to solve the equation so that the absolute value expression is on one side of the equation and the constant is on the other. So we want to get the absolute value expression by itself. Step two, we're going to rewrite the new equation twice, make one constant negative and the other positive. We're going to remove the absolute value and solve. And three, we're going to substitute each solution into the original equation, reject or accept solutions. So we'll talk about how we're going to reject or accept solutions if they make sense or don't make sense. So let's go to it. All right, so if 7 is equal to the absolute value of x plus 2. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get my absolute value expression by itself. How am I going to do that? Inverse operations. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. I'm left with 5 is equal to the absolute value of x. Now, step 2. I'm going to rewrite the new equation twice, make one constant negative and the other positive. So here's what we mean. So I'm going to rewrite it twice. I'm going to make one just the way that it is without the absolute value sign. And I'm going to make one making my constant negative without the absolute value sign. Okay. Well, this one's pretty straightforward. There's really no other solving that we can do because these are what we think our solutions are going to be. All right. So step 3, we're going to check it. And see which ones are going to be our solutions and which will not. So we're going to take each of these solutions. X is 5 and x is -5. We're going to accept one and we're going to reject the other. So let's go. 7 is equal to the absolute value of 5 plus 2. So 7 is equal to 5 plus 2. 7 equals 7. So we can accept 5 equals x. And let's do it with the other one. 7 is equal to the absolute value of -5 plus 2. So 7 is going to be equal to 5 plus 2. 7 equals 7. So we're actually going to accept both of these solutions. Both solutions are accepted. Next example. All right, no constants to move around. Everything is actually exactly how we want it. We have our absolute value expression on one side of our equation. So we're just going to go right to that next step. I'm going to rewrite my expression. 2x minus 3 without the absolute value equals 1. And I'm going to write another one. 2x minus 3 is equal to -1. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's solve each of these. Add 3. So 2x is equal to 4. Divide 2 by both sides. X is equal to 2. Other side, we're going to do the same thing. Add 3 to both sides. -1 plus 3 is 2. So x is equal to 1. All right, so let's test these out. Let's see if we could accept or reject, if there's any that we need to accept or reject. So let's do that down here. I'll even make a little line here just to show. So 2, I'm going to rewrite them. So 2 times 2 minus 3 equals 1. And 2 times 1 minus 3 equals 1. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. So this is the absolute value of 1 equals 1. And yep, straightforward, 1 equals 1. So we can accept this one. 2 minus 1 is 2. So the absolute value of 2 minus 3. So that's going to be a negative 1 equals 1. And we should know the absolute value of negative 1 is 1. So we could actually, again, accept both of those solutions. Both of them work. All right. So we got 2 more. So let's solve this. Let's get our absolute value expression alone. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. So we have 3 absolute value of x plus 2. I'm sorry. Plus 6 is equal to 5 minus 8 is negative 3. Divide both sides by 3. We'll have the absolute value of x plus 6, is equal to negative 1. All right, we can stop and think about that real quick. The absolute value of something is going to be equal to negative 1. I actually know right now that that's not going to work. There's actually not going to be a solution for this one. All right, so we're going to actually end up rejecting both of the solutions. This one is not going to make any sense. I can test it out just to show. All right, so instead, we could actually stop and say that there's going to be no solution. And the reason why we say that there's going to be no solution is because we can't have the absolute value of something being negative. So we stop because there is no solution. Last example. All right, so what do we do if we have a variable on this side? So same deal. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. But remember, I have unlike terms. Can't combine those. Absolute value of x minus 7 is equal to 5x plus 1. All right, so same deal. I have my absolute value expression alone on one side, so I am going to rewrite these. So I'll say x minus 7 without my absolute value symbol is equal to 5x plus 1, so exactly as written. And the other side, I'll say x minus 7 is equal to the negative of all of this, which is a negative 5x minus a 1. So both signs become negative. If for some reason this was like a minus 1, then it would have become a plus 1 here. If this was a negative 5x, it would become a positive 5x here. From here, we're going to go ahead, we're going to solve each side. So let's solve for x here. I'm going to, what do I want to do? Subtract 1 from both sides. So x minus 8 is going to be equal to 5x. I can subtract x from both sides. I'll get negative 8 is equal to 4x. Divide both sides by 4. So negative 2 equals x. So that's what I have on one side. Let's see what the other solution might be. Add 1 to both sides. We'll go x minus 6 is equal to negative 5x. Subtract x. Subtract x. Negative 6 is equal to negative 6x. Divide negative 6 by both sides. We have a 1 equals x. Okay, so we have 2 possible solutions. We're going to test them out. And we're going to see if we can accept both, if we have to reject both, and what's going to happen from there. So let me just shrink it down. So let's test it out. All right, so I'm going to substitute back into my original. So I have a negative 2 minus 7 minus 1 equals 5 times negative 2. All right, negative 2 minus 7 is negative 9. Absolute value of negative 9 is just 9. Minus 1 is going to be an 8 equals negative 10. That doesn't look like one that we can use. So I'm actually going to reject. Test the other side. Absolute value of 1 minus 7 minus 1 equals 5x, which is the absolute value of negative 6 minus 1 is 5x. Negative 6 minus 1, absolute value of negative 6 is 6, minus 1 is 5. These x's should have been 1s. So that's just 5. 5 equals 5. I can accept this solution. So it's just going to be that x is equal to 1. All right, doesn't work, does work, and there it is. All right, so check out practice problems. We'll get to working on this tomorrow. I'll see you all then.